Welcome to Getting to Know You. Today we have 4 people to talk about an important part of Stonebridge, and that's appreciation. Appreciating others, but also being one who does the appreciation, or the appreciating, I guess is what the word should be. So I'm delighted to be sitting here with 2 people of a group of 4 at Stonebridge this year, who are bringing you the opportunity to give to the Employees Appreciation Fund, which then really does recognize the very wonderful things that people do with and for us here at Stonebridge. So these 2 people that we have, in addition to Jeff Tiener, who I understand convenes the group, and Nikki Schreiber, who's been doing it for many years, and said, I'll let 2 other people speak for the group. So here we have Tony Glockler, who is the person who's had the longest experience with this. I think you've been doing it for 3-4 years
4,
now?
yeah.
Okay. And somebody who joined this year, Bruce Ballou. And I want both of them to give you some idea of how this works and why they're doing it, and then the nuts and bolts of what does that thermometer mean that you see standing out in the hall, and how are we doing. So Bruce, I'm going to start with you, because you're given an opportunity to join this August group.
That's right.
To do something very important. What made you decide to say yes?
Well, it was something that I actually was interested in almost from the outset, in terms of joining the group. But I didn't know that it was not a group at that time. Tony was a one-handed. Yes, that's right. He really took care of this quite well himself for quite a while. But it was very obvious when you got here that there needed to be a way of expressing appreciation in a concrete way to people. And, you know, outside of this campus, we're accustomed to doing that by tipping or gifting or other kinds of gratuity, which is verboten here on campus, and understandably why. But there was no opportunity to do that until I think it was Jeff and Tony who put out a little notice in the bulletin looking for volunteers. Because now that you've taken over other roles, it's a little hard for you to manage it all together. And I volunteered, and they accepted my offer, so to speak.
So did you have some duties, or was it sort of be ready if somebody asks, what is this all about, that you could explain it?
No, we did that sort of equitably. We met as a group a few times and decided on what kind of material to distribute and how to advertise and encourage participation in this extraordinary activity. So we each had a little hand in developing materials and strategies, and relied a lot on Tony because he was sort of the historian of this experience.
I see. Okay. So have people talked to you about it?
They have. I wouldn't say there's been an abundance, because a lot of people are already quite familiar with it. But yes, a lot of people, what is it? How does it work? How do we contribute?
So is it fair?
Well, I haven't had that question. I'm surprised, frankly. But no, that's not one of the questions I've had to field. Perhaps Tony or the others have. But more the mechanics of the experience. And I would say quite a number of people were interested in that. And as you know, we've had quite a few new people in the last year. So there's a number of people for whom this is just outrageously new. The other way in which there were questions is that I did a visit with Tony to one of the newcomers, just to orient them in general to the campus. And one of the things they were oriented to during that visit was the Employee Appreciation Fund. And she had quite a number of questions, and I think her first remark to it was, that's great, because she was also one faced with, can I tip? Can I give some kind of gratuity? And now she had a vehicle by which she could express her gratitude.
Well, that sounds good. All right, Tony, the thermometer is behind us. It looks really pretty good. We don't want to stop with going over the top, but where do things stand on the fund? Are you pleased?
Yes, we're doing well. We're not there yet, and we need contribution from everybody who lives here. So anybody who hasn't should think about doing it right now.
So that's participation, number one.
Yes, we want participation of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
We were aiming for a goal of 160,000. We're up over 156 at this point.
Wow. Mhm.
The thermometer is not quite accurate, but it's the way
It gets a
that we
weekly
communicate with the residents
Mhm.
as to how we're doing
Yeah.
and how much more we have yet to go, so they can contribute their part.
Mhm. So you're, as you speak to the residents in this, getting to know you, we still need everybody to participate, and we need as much money as we can get to give away.
Yes.
Is
Yes,
that
I'm
fair?
with you on both of those.
Okay.
Everybody should participate, and if they haven't yet, we want them to do so.
Mhm.
And I think that I'm optimistic that those who haven't yet will contribute and get us over our
Right.
goal of 160.
I thought one of the initiatives, I think, that was taken was to give people an opportunity to give over the course of a year, as opposed to just making one contribution at the drive time.
Yes.
Is
That's-
that right?
That's correct, and we'll be reminding the residents of that in January, that there is an option. There's actually a couple of different ways that it can be, contributions can be received on a monthly basis, so that there's not that request for money at a time late in the year when Thanksgiving is around and Christmas is right around the corner, and there may be other calls on people's money.
And also, you get in touch with families and let them know as well?
We distribute our appeals with the bills.
Uh-huh.
So in those cases where people here have asked a child to take care of their finances, they would be getting a copy. And on the back of the appeal to the resident is an appeal to the power of attorney.
Uh-huh.
So there is a particular appeal aimed to satisfy the information needs of a power of attorney as to what's going on and how they can contribute.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a very thoughtful part of the campaign, because I think people want to contribute, even if it's a little difficult for them to do so.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of families are also very grateful. They want to be part of
Yes.
the appreciation, don't you think so?
Yes.
Yes.
In fact, a funny little anecdote, I got a call from the son of a couple who live here, and he said to me, my mother tells me that my father's not giving enough to the Employee Appreciation Fund. Please let me know next year when the fund comes up.
Oh, that's a great story.
Yeah, I like that
Well,
story.
I think that really means that it means something to the givers, and we're going to hear from them, that this is meaningful, to be able to be appreciative, that they're very glad to have you. So let me thank you for everyone for.
Could I mention one other thing
Sure,
about the
yeah.
thermometer?
Yeah.
It is a way in which to communicate to the residents how we're doing, but it's also not intended, but I noticed that staff pay attention to
Uh-huh.
it as well.
Mhm.
So it's really awfully nice when the staff see that thermometer
Yeah.
rise quickly.
Uh-huh.
It gives, I think it's a boost to the morale, it's a sense of, we really do care, we're not holding back, we're doing everything that we can to move forward with
Right.
this. And aside from the obvious gratuity that they'll get in December, there's that statement that the thermometer says, we really are behind you.
Right. I think it also lets them know how much money is really given.
Yes, of course, yeah.
You know, that to see nearly this year might be up to $200,000 if everybody pitches in, and I think that's a message that we really do
Quite
care.
a message, yeah.
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 Well, thank you for getting us this far, and
You're welcome.
and we hope that we'll get other people who are still thinking about it, or even if people want to give a little bit more to get us up to that
You bet.
200,000. We would
You bet.
really love that. Well, we're going to let the leadership go, and now we're going to hear from the people who make it work. We have two residents who are going to say why it's good to give.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
as promised, we've talked to the leadership that have made the campaign go and give you the opportunity to give. And now we're going to talk with some residents, just like you, that are the people who make the fund possible. If people here didn't decide that this was a good thing to do, we couldn't be talking about having the resources to show our appreciation and to let people know who work here that they really are valued. So David, I've asked you, David Mulford, if you would tell us a little bit about your sort of history of giving to this campaign, because you've been here at Stonebridge for a while. And you were president at one point, and so you have a certain kind of experience. And I'm so glad that Carol Hansen is joining us, who is a newer resident. When did you come, Carol?
A year ago,
Okay.
year and a half ago.
Right. So this will be your first real
Yes.
participation.
Absolutely.
So we're really grateful that a new person thinks that this is a good thing, because that's what you're going to say. And so, David, as you think about this, this is an opportunity to give. You're appreciative of that opportunity to show your appreciation. Is that how you think about it after giving all these years?
Yes, I really do. Nancy and I came here 16 years ago. We weren't among the pioneers, but we came about 2.5 years after Stonebridge opened. So we've been here and seen Stonebridge develop and grow over those years. When we first came here, we realized that we were getting all kinds of services that we felt at the time, goodness, I could do that myself. We were young and comparatively and healthy, but as the years have gone by, we have appreciated more and more and more what Stonebridge is providing for us in so many different ways. About 2 years ago, Nancy moved into one of the care units here, and she has been there for 2 years, and I came to appreciate at that time the wonderful service that we did receive here. And one of the things that you think about when you receive that service is how can we say thank you for it? And tipping has been mentioned before, just doesn't work. It would be very complicated and not at all satisfactory. So a formula was worked out by which, through the Employee Appreciation Fund, we're able to give money that is distributed in a very fair way to the employees. The managerial staff does not receive it, and this gift is tax deductible.
For us,
It's tax deductible, and it gives us an opportunity to express to these people who serve us how much they mean to us. I've been involved in this. I was president of the Resident Association for 2 years. I was a Stonebridge trustee for 3 years. So I've had some experiences in years past. The challenge always is to give an amount that is really adequate to these people who serve us in so many fine ways. One of the joys that I had as a member of the executive committee was to hand out these checks to the employees in
That's
December.
a question, like how do they get them?
That is one of the, because it's done in such a fair way, in a formula where everybody is treated in a fair way in what they receive. And we gather together early December and hand out these checks. And the appreciation that they express and the expression on their faces say how much this is appreciated. So they do so much for us. This is a way to express our gratitude.
And you appreciate the opportunity. And I think, Carol, that's one of the things that we talked about, that you're new here, you haven't had a chance to see the whole process, but you know some important things. One, that your contribution is tax deductible.
Right.
And as David has said, it's fair. You don't have to worry about that. But tell me what you're thinking about as we've asked you to give. You don't have to say if you've done it already. You just
I have actually, but I have a few thoughts on thinking of giving in general. Early on, like in the 40s, when most of us were in grade school, it was sort of common practice for every child to bring a present to his teacher at Christmas time or at holiday time. And I don't know what these presents, I don't remember. I remember doing it every year. My mother probably bought the present. And I do remember thinking, I wonder what the teachers do with all this stuff. But the point to me was not about giving the present, but about, as a child, learning that you do want to show care and thankfulness to the people who have you spent your days with for an entire year. And I felt it was a wonderful way to learn about giving. At any rate, moving forward, fast forwarding to 1985, we moved to Princeton at that time, and my husband and I both wanted to play golf. We were looking for a golf course, and finally we joined a local club, local course, and it involved a lot of our lives. It was where we met most of our friends. It gave us something to play about every single weekend, and that was a lot of fun for us. And it introduced us to the community. In that process, belonging to this wonderful golf course, we found that there were so many people who did things for us that we didn't even pay attention to. And the fact that we didn't have to tip after meals that we had here, and we ate here a lot. Along around holiday time, it was announced that there would be a gift situation for the health of the club, and we were expected to donate to that. At the very beginning, I have to say, oh gosh, one more organization we have to donate to. But you quickly get used to that idea. And so we donated to the Christmas Fund on a yearly basis. And what we felt about being in a situation like that with all these people who were helping make our experience wonderful. First of all, half of them knew our names. And that was very fun to very nice to walk into a place and said, hello, Mrs. Anson, how are you today? That's just a very nice thing that you don't get other places. And we also realized that it was important to help them out by thanking them at holiday time. So we did that for a long time. Then fasting forward, 40 years later, I find myself at Stonebridge and walking into a situation where there is so much done for us, it's hard to believe. I mean, you can go get your hair cut and you're still not paying a tip. Countless meals on a daily basis, you don't tip. You're used to going out for dinner and getting out your checkbook for a tip. Don't do that anymore. So it absolutely behooves us to make up for that and help people out. I also find that this has become a family, and you want to pay attention to your family. Again, here, like at where we play golf, people know your name. They seem happy to see you. And that's a huge part of this stage of our lives, of having people like us, know who we are, and give us the wonderful services in all kinds of areas that have been thought about before. So I would say, and I would say when you walk out of the dining room, everybody says thank you to the staff and to the help, and thank you for treating us so well, and we enjoyed our dinner. But thanking is not enough. We need to do more than that. And so at this point I would say we need to contribute generously to the fund.
And I think the part of it is that you don't even know all of the people who have done things for you.
That's so right, like in
And
the
that you
kitchen.
can appreciate. And I love that idea that many people we know ourselves, who know us, but then it takes a lot more than that to make Stonebridge the place that it is.
That is so true.
And
You
through
think
the-
about that every time something different happens in your life, like being involved with the clinic.
Mhm.
People who came to cart me out to the hospital. I don't even know who they were, but thank goodness they were here.
Mhm. And I think that from what David said, we can be sure that this is a fair fund in terms of people being asked to contribute in a way that reflects an equal, I don't know what you would call that, but we're asking the same of everyone in relation to their not their means, but their services or something.
Well, yes.
How do you call that?
Well, there are suggestions as to what we might contribute, so we know that we're doing something that's fair.
Right.
And we know also that it's distributed in a very fair and equal way. So,
Right.
in a sense, it is to our advantage,
Yeah.
of all of us.
Yeah, it works.
It works. It
And we
works
can be
very
confident
effectively.
that it works. You don't have to sort of stew over it. How much should I give?
Right. That's an important aspect.
Right.
I had somebody call me up, actually, it surprised me, but she wanted to know what I thought she should give.
Mhm.
She's in a very different situation from what I'm in. She's in a room most of the time, and so she's having meals delivered all the time. And I think she was gonna give a very generous
Mhm.
contribution.
To be on the same level
Yes.
with
Yeah.
everybody. So this will be the first year that you would be able to see the before Christmas opportunity when the staff picks up their
Yeah,
their
right.
envelope.
I look forward to that.
And in that envelope, I don't know if it says appreciation on the front of it, but I think that's really what we're talking about,
Right.
appreciating.
Well, we all feel the need to do that, to show our appreciation.
And I guess we are taught to give, and it really is heartwarming to know that we can do it well.
Carol made that point very well. It's a good lesson to learn early in life and to realize it's important throughout your life.
So we'll look at the thermometer and hope that it
That's right.
just bursts out the
Right.
top. And look forward to being able to say Thanksgiving, we did it, we gave, and then at Christmas to actually give
Those
some.
checks out
Right.
to our
Well,
employees.
yeah. Thank you to David and Carol for being the people that make it all work.
Well, thank you for your role. You've done
Absolutely.
Major
Helping us
duty
I
there.
put my check in
Get
there.
the word out.
Yeah.
I have too.
And it makes you feel good. I don't think we have to focus on ourselves, but that is true. So, well, thank you for listening. I hope that you're thinking about your contribution to the fund if you haven't already done it. If you have, thank you very, very much. You will be appreciated and the staff will appreciate it. Thank you.